Hello, my name is Kathryn Ridall. I'm a psychotherapist and author. Like millions of people in the United States and around the world, I've been sheltered at home for the last almost 2 months. In my case, I've been sheltered at home with my husband and with our dog, Eva. This has been a time of unprecedented challenge. We have been forced by these times of pandemic to distance from the things that give our lives meaning, that give our lives texture and substance and pleasure. And we've been forced to look at those things as dangerous to us. This kind of uprooting of values and of activity has been extremely challenging to all of us. During this time, we've also been inundated with imagery of people's suffering here and throughout the planet. We've seen so many different kinds of challenges which people have had to try to find their way through. I think the experiences and the images of this time will be with all of us until the end of our days. However, in spite of the uncertainty and the anxiety and the fear and the upheaval of this time, people have also reported that there have been unexpected gains. People have reported that they love being at home, that even though home can feel like a pressure cooker and they can get stir crazy, people also report that they are experiencing a relaxation, enjoying being at home, enjoying being with their families when their families aren't driving them crazy, enjoying being present to the simple pleasures of home in ways that they hadn't experienced in years. One of the things that people are also reporting as part of slowing down is that they're dreaming more. People are having extremely vivid dreams. They may not understand what the dreams are about or why they're having them, but the dream imagery is coming to people who are on the front lines and to people who are sheltered at home. This isn't too surprising. In times of crisis, our unconscious does come forward and does present us with images that give us solace, that bring our attention where it needs to be directed, that connects us with parts of ourselves that we need to connect to and parts of the world that we need to connect to. So dreams do come in times of crisis. I also think that in slowing down, people are making room for their dreams. They may not be intending to do that, but that's happening. Usually in our lives, we hit the ground running. We run from our bed, we run from our sleep, we run from our dreams, and we rush into life. In this time, when we wake up more slowly and when we are in our homes, for those of us who are at home, there's more time for our dream imagery to be received by us, and that is happening. In this sequence, there will be videos that present dreams that people have had during this pandemic. Those dreams will look at the situation of the dreamer, what the imagery meant to the dreamer, and how those dreams provided support and guidance and companionship to the dreamer. There will also be videos that are toolbox videos. Those videos will just present tools that you can use in working with your own dreams. I'm going to start this series of dream presentations with a dream of my own. I had this dream 2 weeks ago, and it was my favorite dream of the pandemic. I've had many dreams about this pandemic, but this is my favorite dream about it because it made so many things clear. So there are 2 parts to the dream, and as you watch me talk about the dream, notice the ways that I approach my dream, because you can use those approaches when you look at your own dreams. So I called this dream isolation. There are 2 parts to the dream. In the first part of the dream, I'm walking the streets of Berkeley, California. Now, I know Berkeley very well. I lived in the Bay Area for 20 years, and I had an office in Berkeley during that time. In the dream, I'm walking along the streets of Berkeley. I am feeling lost. I don't know where I am. The familiar streets have become unfamiliar. I'm a student at the University of California. I know that I am a student, but I don't really know how to be a student. I just feel disoriented and lost. In the distance, I see a friend of mine who I choose my best friend in high school. I've lost that friendship. We didn't stay in touch. And in the dream, I'm feeling a lot of loss, that friendship has disappeared from my life. So the first part of the dream, I sat with the imagery of it. I asked myself, what am I feeling? Well, what I was feeling was lost, isolated, disoriented. I felt like I didn't know how to make friends anymore, so I felt inept. There was a kind of just pervasive feeling of isolation. The theme of the dream was the familiar becoming unfamiliar, the streets of Berkeley, which are very familiar to me, becoming unfamiliar, and the theme of being a student again. I haven't been a student formally in a long time. And so there's a going back in time and being a student. So when I asked myself what that dream was about, I didn't have to go very far, because of course in this time we are all students. We're all trying to figure out how to navigate these times, how to be with our loved ones, how to do our work if we can. We're trying to find our way. And so the dream showed me the vulnerability I was feeling, that I am feeling. It showed me the feelings of ineptness that I have, that I've lost my skills, and it showed me really the feeling of being, of not knowing what I'm doing again. It's been a long time since I've been a student in that way. I felt that this dream was compensatory. The great Swiss psychiatrist Carl Jung talked about how our dreams bring into our consciousness things which we may be trying to repress or keep at a distance. As we go about our lives, our waking self is always trying to navigate the different life phase we're in. That can be very, very demanding as we try to succeed. And we often distance ourselves from things that seem like they wouldn't help us or that they might derail us. Our dreams, in Jung's view, are compensatory in that they bring to our attention the feelings, the images that we are having outside of the confines of our waking consciousness. So this dream said to me, keep your attention on your feelings of vulnerability and being a student. Of course, in my life, like everybody else, I'm trying to find new ways of being in the world. I'm trying to make life good for my family and friends and clients and myself. I'm trying to enrich this time. This dream was compensatory. It reminded me, yes, do those things, but remember the feelings of vulnerability. You know, I don't want these things to collect under the surface. I don't want to become depressed because I'm not facing how I really feel about or how part of me really feels. So this dream was compensatory, and it helped me to be more whole. It helped me to hold my vulnerability more tenderly and with more attention. In the second part of the dream, I was in the student union, and the group of us were brainstorming on how to make the common space of the student union more inviting and more comfortable to people. We tried several things and they didn't work. And then somebody came upon the idea of having floor-to-ceiling fish tanks. There were 2 of them, and they were filled with these beautiful, beautiful goldfish. The fish had beautiful gold fins that were swishing in the waters of the tank. This was a very enticing image. And I was like mesmerized, like this is beautiful. But then when those tanks were successful, people put them on all the walls so that the tanks were everywhere. And what happened was that when there was that overuse of the tanks, they suddenly became cold. And there were too many fish in the tanks. There was a feeling that what was good and beautiful had been overused and was no longer good and beautiful. So my feelings in the dream were of working with people and feeling good about doing that, trying things out, being successful, not successful, then feeling excited. I felt excited when we found that beautiful, beautiful tank, and I was just tantalized by it. It was lovely. But then there was the overuse of that, and that what was beautiful no longer was effective, and in fact it was cold. And I remember thinking in the dream, I have been in so many zoos and natural history museums, and I thought in the dream, I've never noticed how cold having a glass screen between yourself and other creatures, or yourself and exhibits, how cold that really is. So that was the dream. When I looked at the themes in it, the themes of being in a collective space with people and brainstorming, of course that reminded me of this time as we're all in the same boat. We're all trying to figure out how to make life work for us collectively. Of course, we're trying some things work, some things don't. When we found the fish tank, there was just a beautiful moment of success. I, of course, as I sat with the image of the fish tank, I thought, of course, of the screens that we look in all day long, because really, the screen in front of us is very much like a fish tank. We see our friends and our colleagues and our family swimming around inside the tank. So this dream spoke to me about the experience of being on a screen looking into a fish tank all day. And what that dream said to me is, yes, used in moderation, this screen time is absolutely beautiful and can really transform the common space. But the dream warned that if you do this too much, it loses its effectiveness. It becomes overcrowded, overused, and the good becomes not good. So I felt that this dream offered some guidance in my own life, for my own life, about how not to use screen time, how not to overuse it, but also some guidance about the collective and balancing out screen time with other things. A few days after I had this dream, I received an article from a friend. This article had been in National Geographic, and it was about Zoom fatigue and how in the course of our daily lives we use a lot of nonverbal cues to interact with each other. But when we're on a social media platform, we're using less of the sensory data that we usually use. We're depending a lot on words as opposed to other things. And that this overuse, this overdependence on words to tell us how to navigate is exhausting. And that many people are experiencing and expressing how exhausted they feel after a day is spent on their screens. So this dream, as you can see, it really provided a picture of my own personal feelings of being a student and finding my way, and it provided some imagery and guidance about our collective situation and what might work and what might not work so well. As you've listened to me talk about my dream, maybe you've been thinking about a dream of your own. If so, sit down, write down that dream. Allow your feelings about the different images of the dreams to come up. How are you feeling about the things that happen in the dream? How do you feel about the different characters or the different action in the dream? Notice the themes of the dream. And then ponder, what does this dream have to say to you about your life now? How do the feelings and dreams apply to you? Are they compensatory? Are they guiding you about something that you need to pay more attention to? Our dreams are a magical source of information that can soothe us, that can challenge us, that can lead us to feeling like we have a kind of invisible companionship in our lives. Be well, enjoy your dreams. The next video will be a toolbox video, which will talk about keeping a dream journal. Thank you, and again, be well.